I am Nancy Dye, peak performance mental skills coach and strategic interventionist. And today I am going to be interviewing one of my past clients, Casey Zuraitis, new last name Blackman. Okay, and she's here with me today from Ocala. And hi, Casey, just to let you know, when I say to my other clients, oh, do you know Casey, my past client? I mean, your husband's not going to be happy with this, but everybody's like, oh, Casey Ace?
Yeah.
Did you know your last name is your horse's name?
Pretty much it has become that.
Yeah, it's pretty much become that. Okay.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, I know you as Casey Zuraitis. But anyway, welcome. Thank you for this.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's anybody who doesn't know who you are, but in case there is, let's start with the ending. Okay. After you've done my boot camp, if you can, go through your best wins, champions, and success. And by the way, when did we finish our boot camp?
I believe it was the summer of 2023.
Okay. All right. Wow. It doesn't
So,
seem like it's been that long.
I know.
Okay. Yes. I mean, to prove the point that the results are lasting, right?
They sure are.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So tell me about that. What have your accomplishments been since the boot camp?
Well, so I do have a wonderful horse named Ace, 4 Aces. We bought him actually for my mother, to eventually horse show. And I got the privilege of showing him for a while. So he has definitely, upped my game quite a bit. I went to Devon for the first time last year, qualified, and first class of the first time I walked in the ring and I won it. It was unreal. I got an 89. It was the best first experience at Devon I could have. And we ended that week as reserve champion. So that was very exciting. And then kind of we kept going from there, qualifying for all the indoors. We went to Harrisburg. I had a little blip before the stakes class, and had to give you a call, and kind of give me a little kick in the butt, to get back in the ring. And sure enough, it worked, and we won the $10,000 winner stake, and with a 90. So that was definitely our highest win so far. And then this whole circuit has been amazing. Every single week I've shown him, we've been either reserve or champion. It's kind of unreal to always have a tricolor walking home. It's amazing. And then I have a lot of other young horses coming up. And one of my adult hunters that we decided this year she wanted to be a jumper. She loves it. She's excelling in it. We were double clear every time in the ring last week, and it's just been unreal. It's been such a good circuit.
And what height is that? And what is the age of your horse?
So she just turned 8. She unfortunately last year had a little injury that set her back for a full year. So she had some trouble getting back in the ring. This year we started in the adult hunters. She decided wasn't quite for her. She was a little bored going outside diagonal. So we decided let's bring her in the jumper ring, see if that will, change her mind on things. And sure enough, she just, kind of grabbed the bit and said, let's go. And she loved it. So we ended up moving up last week to the meter 15s, which I hadn't been in the meter 15 since I think 2021 was the last time I've done that. So that was really exciting. And I had in 2021, I had a very, horse that had done it many, many times. So it was teaching it to me, and it was fun to kind of be in the ring with her and kind of be together figuring it out. And it was awesome.
So which do you like better, hunters or jumpers?
Oh, it's so hard. I have an amazing hunter, so it's really nice to walk in the ring and be like, I mean, even if I make a small mistake, he's gonna, help me and figure it out. And I am very competitive on him, so it is really nice to walk in the ring knowing that I can be the winner every time if I do well. And I do love the jumpers. It is a little, I don't want to say I can relax a little bit more in the jumper ring. For me, I like the speed. It's fun. It's just a fun thing to change it up. And I also really love the equitation. So I I don't discriminate. I love it all.
She's a three-ring girl. Hey, listen, I think when we were coaching, you had 3 horses. Didn't you have 3 when we
I
started the
yeah.
boot camp?
Yes, we are currently looking for an equitation horse. I my equitation horse that I had last year unfortunately needed to take a step down. He was, 17 years old and we are having trouble keeping his feet together. So he's doing a smaller job now and he's loving it. So now we just have to we've been trying a bunch of horses this circuit and I've been leasing horses week to week with Emil Spadone, and it has been going very well. So still getting trying to qualify for Ariat finals and, doing NHS finals in Kentucky, which actually this year they moved the National Horse Show. So that's going to be interesting and try on. Excited to do that. And yeah, it's been great.
Wow. So, I mean, that's the great thing with Emil, right? So many of my clients come from him. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're catch
And that's how
rider,
we
girl.
found,
You're huh?
and that's how we found you.
Oh, was that? Was that through Emil?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
that's
it was,
good to know.
yeah, it was through Kate Egan. So you trained her, and my trainer, Kate Wagner, was talking to Kate about that, and she was said all the amazing things, and she obviously it worked. She did some amazing equitation things in her end of her career, equitation career.
Won a car. She
So
won a car.
did win a car. Not many kids can say that.
No, no. Oh, wow. Okay. And so, yeah, I mean, this is one of the stories that I remember, although I don't remember what show it was you were going to, but we were doing the boot camp and you were hauling your own horses. I mean, this is what blows me away because you were competing with people that got to just la-di-da show up and their horses were already in their little stables, right? But not you because you said to me, Nancy, I mean, I have to really make this work for me financially. And this is why I really wanted to do this podcast because of these limiting beliefs, right? I have to have the world's most expensive horses, right? I have to have top trainers. You have one of those. But I will never forget that you were going to some indoor event. Do you remember which one it was? And you were hauling 3 horses through major city traffic. You were getting stuck at rush hour. And you
Yeah.
said, "It took me, like, 8 hours to get to my friend's house." Tell me that.
Yeah, so I do, I mean, I grew up on a farm and my parents have always owned a horse farm. And so it's very odd to me to show up at a horse show and have my horse ready for me. I have in the past year had the privilege of, ride or 2 years riding with Redfield a little bit at indoors. So that part is a little bit different for me, like showing up at a horse show and everything being set up already. But I still do drive most of my horses to the horse show. So I drive from Massachusetts to Florida to drop them off. And we're here and my coaches, we love the horse world. Like we love our horses. We want to be a part of everything, know how they're feeling each day, know if they're not, they're 100% self each time. So it is really important to us to kind of, be a part of every part of their life too. So yeah, I do a lot of, I'm climbing the top of the stall walls to hang up our electrical and, doing all of those dirty nitty gritty things and packing up and driving all the equipment and the horses everywhere. So it makes it more fun for me because otherwise I think I'd get kind of bored.
Well, but it also, because I remember we had this discussion about how you could do that, show up to indoors at these really important events and not be stressed because now you spend all that time in the city traffic, and then I think you were going to your girlfriend's
Mhm.
house and she wasn't even
Yep.
there? What was
Yeah.
what was that story?
Yeah. She was on a work trip and I called her and I was like, so I'm stuck. She lives in New Jersey. I was like, can I stop between, I think it was between, Capital Challenge and Harrisburg and I just needed a place to be. And she was like, yeah, no problem. So I just called her and gotta love horse people. They always will make it work for you. They'll have a stall or they'll be able to put you up. So, and I just called her and I was like, I'm sitting in traffic. I'm not going to make it to the horse show. It's too late. Can I spend the night? And she said, absolutely. So it's kind of nice to have, horse people and horse friends everywhere.
And so, that begs the question about mental skills right there. Okay. Because we can tell ourselves a story that everything has to be perfect, in place, prepared, yada, 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 right? Like an
Mhm.
A barn is going to do. So in your case, right, you had to change that belief that you had, or maybe you never had it. But what is the belief that you had to have as far as mental skills to be able to haul those horses, have that stress, have that uncertainty, last minute changes? What was it, do you remember, that you had to tell yourself instead so that you showed up and you would do well?
So I think the biggest thing before I started working with you was the way that I said things. Like I had to completely change my language. And that I think was the biggest thing that helped me, as far as saying, I can't do this or I'm going to run out of time. Just saying like, oh, I can make this work if I just follow the steps or I didn't get stuck as much. The other thing is like reframing everything as far as I I don't have to be as worried when I get somewhere and I'm the quote unquote unprepared or I'm late. It's not those are I just have to change those words to make it so that it works for me.
Okay. And what words do you think works the best for you? Because everybody's different. What you're going to tell me is not necessarily what's going to work for somebody else.
Yeah, I think my biggest thing was nerves. I was like, I'm nervous. I'm always nervous, nervous, nervous. And that was the biggest thing. And I think I can't remember the exact words you said, but you said it was, my competition state. And that was I had to welcome that in and that actually could help me, with the little bit of adrenaline that it gives you and all of those things that could help me in the show ring to make the quote unquote nerves be something exciting and something that will actually make me ride better.
Okay, great. And did that work for you?
100%.
We have to ask that question, right?
100%. Like I'd stand at the in gate and just yawn and yawn and yawn. I don't know if my brain needed more oxygen or what was happening, but that was all I could do. I couldn't speak any words. I couldn't talk about my course. And then I was like, okay, so if I start yawning, that means I'm nervous. So which means, okay, welcome that in and say, hey, I'm giving my brain more oxygen. I'm going to make this happen. So it really was amazing.
So, I mean, that's interesting that you said that because everyone's different. I didn't say that to you about the more oxygen, but that's actually very good. You kind of got the hang of this mental skills, huh?
Yeah, you really helped with that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the thing is that, right? So, those other things that we mentioned with the traffic, with I'm not going to make it there on time, trying to find a place to stay, that being able to embrace whatever uncertainty comes up.
Mhm. 100%. And taking more ownership of it too.
Tell me
I think
about
that is
that.
big. Well, so I used to always, not so much blame the horse, but blame the situation. So I said, say I mismeasured or I stopped at a jump or something like that happened. And I would say, oh, well, you know, the horse isn't feeling well, or that person was standing outside the gate, or the photographer was in a wrong place and it was spooking my horse. Instead of that, I started taking more ownership of things, saying, like, well, if I created the better canner, or if I had the horse more focused on what I'm doing, or stuff like that, making it my issue, not everyone else around me.
And so, but I mean, one of the reasons that we do blame outside is because, well, there's a lot of reasons, but one is, we feel like we made the mistake. So, did you have a fear about making a mistake? And
I always had a fear of making a mistake, and my mom has been a huge helper in everything. I mean, she's supplied me with the most amazing horses, and without her, I couldn't have done any of this. So I think walking into the ring was, oh, my mom's putting so much of this effort in, and she's working so hard so that I can have horses that are amazing, and I can be at barns that are super helpful, and my trainers are amazing, and I can have everything I need. But if I mess up, then I feel like I'm not contributing back to what she's giving me. And I think learning with you and talking to you about that is saying, oh, well, that's not fair to her, by putting all that pressure on her, that she's making me like, oh, I have to do well. And that's not fair to my mom either. So I think taking ownership of that and saying, hey, it's okay if I make mistakes. She's not going to be upset about that. She wants me to have fun. Obviously everyone wants to win and be successful and all of that. But if you put that stress on yourself, you can't be successful.
Exactly. But here's the thing. The stress is there because it's your choice, right? In your situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know people for whom their pressure and stress because it really is coming from their parents? Because you were just blessed. You were blessed with
yeah, I just have amazing parents. But yes, I've definitely come across a couple of my friends that if they don't do well, their parents it's bad, and their parents get after them, and that makes it worse, I feel like, with them. And a lot of them have burned out because of it. Like, I've lost a couple of very good friends that don't ride anymore. And I don't get to see them very often now because they burned out from that stress.
Right. Okay. And so really for people like that come to me, I can't change their parents. Good luck changing your
Yeah.
parents, right? Good luck changing your trainer. Like none of these things, like they come to me, oh, that's a solution. Like I'm telling you, you can't change other people, places, and things. But we can literally embrace everything. I mean, even though you may have a parent that puts that stress on you, or you have a trainer, I mean, Amel's amazing, okay? But we all know trainers that, they're scared, right? Like some trainers, oh, if I don't hear a whoop, if I don't hear clapping, I don't want to come out of the ring, right? So in that case, how would we embrace that? How would we embrace that stress?
Well, I mean, ugh, I hate to say it this way, but it, you you can also always change your trainer. I know that sounds terrible. I have the privilege of having amazing trainers, and I've been with them since, I don't know, before college, like 20 years. And we're family at this point. But I you can always change your trainer, find a different situation, move on to find somewhere that you fit better, because it's not worth it, especially for you and your horse, to be in a situation that doesn't work for either of you. I mean, you can't change your parents. I will say that.
And you can't leave. I mean, of course, people are now. They're leaving their parents or walking away, which I really don't believe in, because I think it really goes back to the extreme ownership that you were talking about. Because what I have found when I'm coaching people is that regardless of the dance that you're locked into, that as soon as one person changes their dance, the other person kind of has to adjust, right? Or they're going to be stepping on toes. And it's just amazing how when you show up more coachable, listening, applying, and not making the same mistake over and over again, you're not getting yelled at as much, right?
Right.
Yeah. So,
Absolutely.
we start with that. Worst case scenario, maybe you have to change a trainer, but, that's always the worst case.
Right.
So, what did we do also with your parents and that stress to win and the pressure? You were putting it on yourself, but how did you also get around that? Do you remember the other things that we talked about?
I mean, it's been so long. But to be honest, like with my parents, is having the conversation with them that I was putting pressure on them as well. And which I didn't realize. Like, I had a conversation with them, and I was saying, this is how I'm feeling. And then they also explained to me how they were feeling. And I was putting pressure on them that I didn't realize I was doing. So saying to my mom, like, oh, this isn't going well. So then my mom feels bad why it wasn't going well. And she feels that to her heart. Like she wants everything to be, everything I ever wanted kind of thing. Like that's how kind of mom she is. And she's also a horse person. So she understands, which is great because she understands, okay, it's not going well. There's 1,000 reasons and 1,000 things we can do to change that. So like, let's, go through those things and follow those steps to try to make it better. And having a horse mom is great for those sort of things because she can kind of give you ideas on how to change or how to, okay, maybe that bit didn't work. Let's change that. Those kind of things.
But with that extreme ownership, see, here's what shifted. You were no longer focused on what your mom was going to think or disappointing them and all of that. What did we change? We changed and we focused on the mistake. Oh, no, I don't want to focus on the mistake. Yeah, you do. You want to embrace it. Remember that?
Right. The pearls.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about the pearls. I get that question a lot. How did you come up with the pearls?
It's the best thing ever. I love it. So,
And here's how I came up with it, is that pearls are literally my birthstone, okay?
oh,
So I always loved pearls, and so, when I was doing this with the mistakes with my camp, right? All the mistakes I had to make in sports, that's what worked for me, thinking that it's a gem of wisdom, and I'm like, "Oh, what gem do I wanna use?" Well, of course, I'm gonna go with pearls, right? So we went with that.
yeah, and pearls of wisdom. It still comes up every once in a while because I mentioned that to my trainer and she's like, that's the best way to say you made a mistake. It's not a mistake. It's a pearl of wisdom. So it was kind of like a really cool thing that we did. And as far like going back to the language talk that we said, I had a lot of trouble with in and outs. And you helped me change that. And I no longer call them in and outs. And we changed it to whatever the stride length was. So you said, it's a 1 stride or a 2 stride. And that has helped me so much as far as that puts you into pieces versus all in a whole. So there's an in and there's an out, and there's 2 steps or 1 step between it. And that's 3 different things you have to accomplish to complete the in and out versus an in and out is one thing. If it doesn't work, it's going to be the end of the world, and you're going to crash, and this is going to happen, or you're going to do 2 in the 1, or you're going to hurt your horse, and that's kind of how I would always end up getting, and I would get stressed, which would then lead to my horse getting stressed and us having an issue at the in and outs. So then changing them to 1 stride, 2 stride has been one of the biggest things that has helped. So pearls, changing my language as far as that goes, and the hand on the hip.
Oh, okay. Well, change your physiology, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
standing in gate, getting a good breath in before I walk in the in gate, and even a good stretch before I walk in.
Right. And all the biology behind that. Okay. So here's the thing. Let's go back to, and this is what I call demonizing the jumps or demonizing the lines, right? So for some people, bending lines, like that's their nemesis, right? Oh, bending line. So this is what happens is just like with the in and out, you had said that to yourself so many times with such a negative meaning that we just literally could not use that word anymore.
Yeah.
Just like we can't use the word mistake. So like let's say somebody their issue is a bending line. I mean, if you've demonized that and that's the meaning you have in there, automatic, got to come up with a new name and a new meaning.
Yeah.
Okay?
Absolutely.
What is the new meaning of an in and out? Because it's not just number of strides. What's the new meaning?
I mean, I'm kind of blanking here, but I mean, as far as the new meaning, it's not stressful to me anymore. It's 2 separate jumps.
Okay. All right. Is it fun?
It's fun. I mean, yes, when especially when you have a horse like Ace.
Exactly. Okay. So wait, it's fun? I thought it was a bad thing. No, it's fun. This is like why we do the sport. Hello. Right?
Right.
So like how can we make a bending line fun? Right? Oh no, it can never be fun. Oh yeah, it can. You just have to use a little bit of creativity, right? Yeah, and then you have to repeat that over and over and over again. So tell me, how does that then help you when you're walking a jumper course and you're making your
Well,
plan?
making my plan as far as, okay, if it's a two stride or one stride that are it's by itself on the course, that used to stress me all the time. Where I used to be, okay, the I can count to 8 and then I'll be fine because I can count to the in and out. I'll be all right. Versus now I kind of wait for them to be by themselves because then I'm excited about it. I'm like, okay, like I know I can get up there and, ride my course and find that in and, make the rest of the distances work. So before it would stress me so much when I saw just an in and out by itself on like the quarter line of the ring because I'd be like, well, I can, I can pull to it, I can kick to it. What if I don't get through it? And then it will then mess up the rest of the distances after it. So I think now it's just it kind of like, domino effect. I was afraid if I mess that one thing up, then every other jump won't match.
And then what about, like, you're walking the course? Because I think we talked about this too, and it's a jump you know your horse has never seen, okay? Or you have water or you whatever. So there's not a history of demonizing it, but you're kinda walking the course going, "Oh, wait a minute," right? So how would you handle something like that?
Well, okay, so 2 weeks ago when we started the meter 15, I said to Kate, we were walking the classic course on Sunday because we jump a meter 10 during the week and then the classic's a meter 15. And I went out there and I walked the course with the juniors in the morning to get kind of an idea of where I was going. And I went and walked up to the jumps and they looked large to me because I hadn't jumped that height in a long time. And the course was pretty significant. I mean, lots of, in between lines, it was a 7.5 to a 8.5. So I had to make those decisions and I walked the course by myself in the morning. And then I said to my trainer, Kate, I was like, I need you to re-walk with me so that I can have a better idea of how you think for this specific horse, where you think I should be. And I said to her, I have ideas of what options I want to take and I want to get your opinion on it. And that's what's so nice about having a coach like that. That's not just going to tell you exactly what she thinks it is. Should kind of ask your opinion on what you think the horse is feeling that day, or you think, okay, is she going to start slow? So do you need to, do the 8 instead of the 7 in the first line to then get the confidence for the rest of the ride? So I think that is really nice to have. And I mean, on my side to sit with Kate and say, hey, it walks a 7.5. I think I should do 8 in the first line so that then the next line will come up and I can ride up to it. So it's really nice to have that in my wheelhouse and, by my side to talk things through instead of being told. And that's really hard for me. To have no information and being told that is tough for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is such a great point because you and I both know too many stories also of trainers giving their riders certain ways they want them to do the course. Um, and you know what? It's the rider that's on the horse that day. At the end of the day, it's the rider.
Right.
So, and your life and your career, that's all on you. And I'm not saying don't listen to your trainer or no matter what they say, do whatever the hell you want. I'm not saying that, okay? It's that perfect blend that you were talking about, okay?
Yeah.
Because and the horse is different every single day too, right?
Right. Yeah, and never know. And the biggest thing I've noticed with my trainer Kate is she will say, "Okay, this line's a 10, which okay, do you need to count to 10? It's so far away." No, but that gives you an idea about where you're going to be. So, say you're in jump, you jump a little long and flat, you're landing, more shallow, or you're landing farther into the line. So then as the rider and as the skill level that you should be at jumping that height, you can then make the decision if you balance up and add one, or you can move forward and she's with you and you can make that happen.
Yes. I love that. So at least knowing that you have that support. And listen,
Right.
maybe it doesn't work out, right?
It sometimes doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the thing, because, "Oh, but my trainer told me to do XYZ." I'm like, if you win, how upset do you think they're gonna be? Like, really? If you
Exactly.
win, how upset are they gonna be? Not very, right? They might say, like, "Next time," right? Okay, so but I mean, it depends on the level that you're at. Okay, so let's also talk about little bit of segue here. How have these mental skills helped the rest of your life? Oh,
Yeah, quite a bit.
because wait a minute, we when you first started coaching with me, I have everyone do their goals, okay? And you had a goal. You had a goal that you wanted to find your soulmate. You were ready for that. And I'm like, "Okay, let's do it." And you even had, because 'cause I'm big on deadlines, and you even had a plan, right? So that was on the goal. So let's talk a little bit about that story because I love that story.
Yeah, so I mean, I had been, as a lot of people my age have done, on online dating. It's, it's a rough life out there. So I decided I was kind of done. I was like, I had been on bad dates. No one likes those. And I was like, I got home from a horse show. I was like, it's a Saturday night. Maybe I can see what there is. Flipped on a couple of them. I found a really cute dog picture, which is always helpful. And I was like, "Do you wanna go get a drink?" And so I went out for a drink on Sunday afternoon, and we just kinda hit it off. I He was like, "Oh god, she's a horse girl," that that all forsaken thing. Um, and, we just kind of fell. So, it was great. It was awesome. And he's in the military, which is amazing, and I've gotten to now live in some cool places and, do a bunch of moves and meet a lot of really cool people, so
So let's go back to that story because kind of how I remember you told it is that it was a Sunday night, right?
it was a Sunday night, and I said, "We're either meeting or we're not."
You were like, "Instead of going through this for weeks and months, how about we just meet for a drink?" And he was like, "Well, but it's Sunday night." And you're like, "Yeah, so what?" I mean, you took total leadership of that.
Yeah, I hate talk you can talk on an app for months and months and months and never get anywhere with it, and I was just like, I'm just gonna put myself out there and say, "Hey, we're either gonna meet or we're not, and it's okay if we don't." And sure enough, he jumped in.
I mean, this is the thing, right? So when you start deciding you're going to make results in the ring, you're going to make results with your horse. You're going to turn around your relationship with your coach or whatever's happening. That is like, oh, wait, what else can I do? Wait, what else can I do? Right. So then it's like, oh, okay. So I want to find my soulmate. And so you took leadership with that as well. And let me tell you something, you had to take leadership with a leader because he's a military
True.
officer, right?
Yes, he is.
Okay. So, good for him, by the way. But see, that's the thing. They teach you to be a cadet first, right? So they teach you
Mhm.
to also follow. You have to be able to do both, right? Okay.
Yep.
Um, so you meet and you start dating. Was it love at first
Yeah.
sight? Was it love at first sight?
I It wasn't, and I think he would agree with me. We definitely liked each other quite a bit. But the first thing he pretty much said to me, I think it was date 2 maybe, he was like, "Well, I'm moving." And I was like, when are you moving?" And then it was 3 months later, and he was like, I'm moving to San Antonio for training, and then I'm moving to Mississippi." And I was like, "Oh, interesting." I don't know how I live in Massachusetts on a horse farm. Mississippi's a long way away. We kind of were like, let's just play it by ear and see if it works. And sure enough, it did. So we got married in June, and I moved out to Mississippi, which has been quite a change for me. And traveling to horse shows and kind of now just showing up to horse shows is very odd for me, and not driving my horses and being a part of it. So that's been a very big change. But yeah, it's been great.
Well, listen, it was a little rocky as I remember it. I remember And this is I'm from a military family, if anybody doesn't know. My father was a Marine. My son, I think at the same time, he was an officer in the Air Force as well, right? Or had he already
Yeah.
gotten out?
Uh,
Okay.
he might have gotten out by then. I can't remember. Or
Okay, yeah, he was in for 10 years. But so we're a military family, and so let me tell you, it is a huge sacrifice for the families. It really is. And I mean, I remember like, come on, you're falling in love with somebody and you can't see them. And you were like sad and, all the things that you would feel when you can't be with someone that you love and you care about. And not for nothing. I mean, I know like, they can't necessarily always call you.
Yep.
That's not always an option. Like, wait, what? What do you mean I can't talk to my son? Like, what? Right? Like, no, no, you can't know where they are a lot of the time.
Right.
Like, a lot of uncertainty, right?
Mhm.
But thank God you had mental skills.
Yeah. It is very true. And I also had to, organize with him because I was going to horse shows and I was gone a lot. I'm gone a lot. So we have to be very, excited about wanting to make it work. And, him being I live in Florida for 3 months while he's in Mississippi. So trying to work out, okay, when are we going to see each other each month? How is that going to work with the horse show schedule? And, is he turning him into a horse show husband? you know? Exactly, exactly. So,
And I don't think he knew anything about horses before you, did he?
he didn't, but he's learning. He's trying. He can put a halter on and turn a horse out now. So
No, what?
that's been blessing.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I was like,
Okay.
either sink or swim, jump in.
I mean, if you could fly a plane, you could put on a halter, I'm guessing, right?
Exactly. And he's good at filling water buckets. That's usually his job.
Okay, well, one thing for sure, those guys are fearless.
They are.
So with that, you guys were a really great match,
Yeah.
because what you do in our sport, you literally have to be fearless. You have to be able to absolutely rock uncertainty no matter what that is. So I remember we had those sessions. I'm not gonna be able to see him for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but you had to get in a good mindset to go in the ring, okay, and go out there and rock it, even though maybe you felt sad or you felt, you were missing him or just the uncertainty, right?
Yeah, and planning a wedding when we lived in 2 different states and neither of us were home very often. That was an interesting thing too.
And wait, didn't you do all that planning yourself?
So we did have a, month of wedding planner that helped us with, the organizing, getting everyone there, and then the day of. But I did a lot of the individual stuff because we got married at our farm in Massachusetts. So we had, tents and all kinds of things to organize and picking all of the individual things. You had no idea how much it is until you get into it. I had no clue.
But those photos, and I'm gonna have to put some of those in this podcast because imagine this if you haven't seen it in the movies, but the swords, you guys
Yeah.
walking through with the swords, the tunnel of swords, the
Yeah.
officers standing there with the swords. I don't know if they're officers or enlisted that do that.
They were all
They were what?
they were all officers, and we had one enlisted, but
Oh,
yeah.
okay. All right. Not that it matters, but whatever.
No.
It does if you're in the military, it matters. So I want to say it correctly. My favorite picture, because I grew up in Vermont at our overnight sports camp, right? So we had several stripped down Willie Jeeps, right? Okay. Oh my God, that was my favorite. You guys in that little, and that back seat's like what, this narrow?
It's
Right?
pretty small.
It's pretty
My
small,
dress up
right?
took up most of it, yeah.
Oh, I love that. Forget the limos, forget this, just give me a good,
Yeah, my
Willie.
dad bought that. It was an army Jeep, and it actually, was used overseas.
Oh, it
And
was. It was the real
yes, it
thing.
was the real thing. Yeah, my husband grew up in army, so he grew up at West Point, and his dad is army, and so
I take it back. I take it back.
yeah, he grew up army, was trained by the Navy, and now flies for the Air Force. So it's very confusing.
Wow, he had a background,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah. He did it a very interesting way, but it's pretty cool.
Wow. Oh my God, that's impressive.
So we're still army football. So we
You're
got
still Army football?
Yeah. I know. I'm sorry.
Guess you have to go with that. All right. So, yeah, I just love that story, but good for you, that never would have happened if you hadn't been so proactive.
Mhm.
And let me tell you how I use your story, because I have a lot of people that are in the same boat. They have that as their goal, right?
Oh,
So I
yeah.
have to tell them the story that you did that, and online, I mean, that was just did you have to have faith and belief that was gonna work or what?
You had to have a little bit, I can tell you that, because I can tell you some horror stories of Tinder dates I've been on that, you never wanted to do ever again, and you tell yourself, "Oh, it's never gonna work." And now I mean, I kind of am that story, and it's so cool to be like, "Okay, well, there are the people on Tinder that you can find."
'Kay. So, but I mean, you literally manifested that. You literally manifested that, and that takes mental skills to do that, doesn't it? Right?
Yes, thank
I mean, you could have gotten jaded, you could have gotten negative and just given up, right? But thank God you didn't, right?
Yeah.
Let's do this, another segue. So I mean, I met you in Ocala. Was that a year ago or 2 years ago? I don't know. I had the same
You came
jacket.
last year. I think I've seen you there twice, I believe.
Okay. So, yeah, and that I was literally with you when you found Ace. I remember that.
Yep. Yeah, we had just bought it.
So, but after that, you send me, thank you so much. You always tag me, you send me your photos. We hadn't really talked. One day, I'm walking in the park. It's Nationals, right? Was it Nationals?
I was at Harrisburg.
Oh, it was Harrisburg. Okay, but I'm walking at the park and a call comes in with your name on it. And I'm like, wait, what? It's the middle of indoors. Why would Casey be calling me? Because I know you're out there rocking it, right?
Mhm.
So let's talk about that. What happened there?
Yeah, so I was doing the 3-3 amateurs at Harrisburg, and they split the division. Half the division is in the new indoor, and the second day is in the small, classic indoor. And the first day went great. I had two wonderful rounds. I believe I was like second and third. I was, did very well. And I did my last round of the division in the small indoor, and I was having the best trip of my life. It was amazing. The last line, cantering down to the last line was, the dreaded two stride that I had told myself, it's of course it goes last, and I remember talking to myself about the course beforehand and saying, of course the two strides last. Of course it's off my left lead, which is a little harder for me. And that's when I should have realized at that point that I shouldn't have said that to myself. Like, why do I need to do that to myself? I need the wow factor at the end. I need the show off, like, finding that last jump, and I should have been there and I just hadn't gotten myself back. So unfortunately I, pulled for no reason at the last second, and I chipped into the two stride, and I went from, where I could have been in the 90s to my 68. Um, and so then I was just so mad at myself when I got off. I was like, why? This horse wanted to win. You could tell he was, jumping his all. He was the perfect canner. Like, he wanted to win. You could tell it in his brain. You're like, you looking at him and you're like, he wanted to be the winner. And I had the stakes class right after that. And I called you and I was like, I need a turnaround. I need someone to talk through this with me. I need a little kick in the butt. Why did I say that stuff to myself? And I needed, you to be there, and you were there. And I think we only talked for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, if that. And it was just enough to change my mindset and to change all my language. And, I can do this and I can find that. And it worked. And I went into the stakes class and got a 90 and won the class.
Unbelievable. What a great
Yeah.
story, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, that was just meant to be because most of the time I'm on the phone with my clients, right? So, I mean, it was just lucky that I was like
I
free.
happened to have 1 second, yeah, and I remember I called you after and you're like, the first you didn't even say hello, you were like, "You won, didn't you?" I was like, "Sure did." It was pretty amazing.
No, I knew you were gonna win. I knew Kate Egan was going to win the car as well. And she sent me a note the next morning 'cause she knows I'm not up that late, right? I didn't even
Yeah.
watch it, right? Well, you know how long that thing is, right? So,
Yeah. It's a long day.
but it's like she didn't even need to send me the note because I knew. And I knew when I got off the phone with you, I'm like, yeah, she's got this now.
Yeah.
But that's the great thing, not to pat myself on the back, but I will. But the thing is, with my boot camp, I mean, I'm there for people 24/7. And especially, here's what's important, that you do not wanna be repeating bad habits at all. So, you have a
Right.
bad round, give me a call. There's no such thing as a bad weekend, much less a bad week. Give me a call.
Right.
I'm a strategic interventionist, okay? I'm gonna get you. I mean, all that happened with you, and this it happens, right? Bumps in the road. You got bumped off into your old rider identity. Those thoughts, those feelings, those meanings, everything, right? So I'm a
Right.
strategic interventionist. Give me a call. I'll get you on the right path. But the beautiful thing is that, with my boot camp, which is 24 sessions, and I think, did we coach after that for month to month? I can't remember.
We did a couple. Yeah, it was about 6 months probably after that.
Okay.
Month to month.
Yeah. So, I mean, by then, I know you inside and out, right? Better
Yeah.
yet, you know yourself inside and out, right? But it didn't take but 2 seconds for me knowing you, what happened, what the problem was, and then actually, I think what really worked to shift you back on that new bridle path. Oh, plug for my book here, okay, is that I just had to tell you a story from the book. I think that's how it was, right? Or
Yeah.
or maybe it was a Tony Robbins story from our boot camp. I said, "Well, that's the so and so story." And you were like, "Oh, yeah, that's right." Remember that? So, like, we
Right.
didn't
Yeah.
have to spend a whole long time because it was just that story. Or, the race car driver, Tony Robbins, race car driver, like, it's all code now, right? So it's
Right.
very easy and fast to turn around.
Yeah, and I feel like as we worked, farther, and, like, as we got closer to, now, it didn't have to be as long either. Like, I could do a 5-minute text check-in with you, and you can just give me one little tip and, we're back on track. So I feel like it's kind of layered itself on and been able to, be a little easier.
Yes, yes. And that's the thing because we can be out there rocking it in all areas of our lives, and then one little thing happens, like when COVID hit. I mean, I was getting calls left and right. Did I leave any sessions on the table? I just lost my job. I just lost, da 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 da, right?
Yeah.
I mean, sadly, teenage I had a teenage rider who just suddenly came down with cancer.
Yeah.
But again, and she had to go to the hospital and talk about uncertainty and talk about fear. She was
Right.
out there rocking it, but hey, give me a call, right? Because that's how well I know you, and we're going to get through this. Because, I mean, my program is riding and life. And once you learn how to apply the mental skills and all of this to riding, it's very easy to then apply it to your life. And get
Absolutely.
married, right? All right, so we're
Yeah.
gonna have to wrap this up, girl. I really I mean, first of all, it's great to see you, and I was just
It's good to
mentioning
see.
before we before we started, I don't think I've ever seen you without your glasses,
Yeah. I mean, I'm always standing in the sun because my little squinty.
right? But, like, I'm not I don't take mine off, everyone knows that, right? Okay, I gotta stay on brand with my aviators. Um, but thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you.
And what are your plans moving forward, with your life and
Um,
with riding, and what are our goals for this year?
yeah, so we're taking a right after, actually, this is my last week showing circuit. And then we're going on a little family vacation, and then I'm moving in June to Maryland. So that's going to be a big change and exciting. And both my sisters live out there, so it'll be nice to be closer to family. And then really, I don't show again probably until July at this point because we're really busy with moves and everything. So I'm taking a little break, restarting up. I'll do Devon, and then between Devon, I won't show until July. And then my young horse, going to incentive finals, and Ace will be doing Derby finals in Kentucky, and then indoors.
And then indoors again.
So,
Well, the
and
great
as
thing.
my mom hopes that, and babies too, hopefully soon.
Oh, and your mom's hoping for babies too. Okay.
Yeah, she's pushing that button pretty good.
All right. Well, now you know how to manifest, so that's not gonna be a problem, right? I might wanna wait until I move, but that's the great thing about married
Yeah,
officers in the military. What, they come and
exactly.
pack it all up?
They they do it for you. That's true.
I mean, can you do it with
Just
my
take the
horses
bag.
too while you're at it? Can you
I
grab
know, that would be great.
grab
Yeah,
these
come to the
3
barn and
horses?
pack that up too.
Here, pack up my tag trunk, right?
Yeah,
Oh my god. Well, hopefully I'm so bummed I didn't make it up to Ocala. I mean,
I
I
know.
literally would have had I known it would be great to, meet your husband, but one of these days, right?
Yes, absolutely. Maybe you can come we can get you to come to indoors.
Oh, there you go. Okay. That might work. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay, sounds great.
Alright. Thank you so much,
Thank
Casey.
you.
Hugs to your mom, okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, as well as that wonderful husband of yours.
Alright. Bye.